Stoicism begins with the recognition that life does not exist to satisfy your expectations. Events unfold according to causes far beyond your control, and resisting this reality is the root of much human suffering. The Stoics observe that people are not disturbed by what happens, but by the judgments they form about what happens. When something goes wrong, the untrained mind immediately asks, "Why me?" The Stoic asks a different question: "What is required of me now?" This shift is subtle, but powerful. It moves attention away from complaint and toward responsibility. Instead of arguing with reality, the Stoic accepts it fully and responds with reason. Acceptance, in Stoicism, is not resignation, it is alignment. You stop wasting energy wishing events were different, and begin using your energy to act wisely within the situation you are given. Peace begins here. At the core of Stoic philosophy lies a simple division: what is within your control, and what is not. Your opinions, intentions, and actions belong to you. Outcomes, other people's behavior, and external circumstances do not. Most anxiety is born when this boundary is ignored. People attempt to control results, demand certainty, and seek approval from forces they cannot command. The Stoic trains the mind to release what was never truly owned. This release does not weaken ambition, it sharpens focus. When effort is placed only where influence exists, the mind becomes lighter. There is no longer a constant struggle against reality, only steady movement within it. Freedom, to the Stoic, is not getting what you want. It is wanting only what depends on you. Emotions are natural responses, not enemies. The Stoics never argued that fear, anger, or desire should disappear. They argued that these emotions should not rule behavior. Between stimulus and response, there is a moment of choice. This moment is where discipline lives. Most people surrender this moment without noticing. They react automatically, driven by impulse, habit, or ego. The Stoic pauses, not to suppress emotion, but to examine it. By observing emotions instead of obeying them, clarity emerges. Actions become deliberate rather than reflexive. This practice creates inner stability, a calm center that remains intact even when circumstances are turbulent. Stoicism views hardship not as punishment, but as training. Difficulty is not evidence of failure, but an opportunity to strengthen character. Comfort, while pleasant, does little to prepare the mind. Adversity reveals weaknesses that ease conceals. The Stoic does not seek suffering, but neither does he flee from it. He understands that resistance to discomfort often creates more pain than the discomfort itself. By voluntarily facing challenges, the Stoic reduces fear of them. What is familiar loses its power to intimidate. In this way, hardship becomes useful. It refines judgment, deepens resilience, and teaches endurance. Time, according to the Stoics, is life itself. To waste time is to waste existence. Many people live as if time were unlimited, postponing meaning and discipline to some imagined future. The Stoic rejects this illusion. Awareness of mortality sharpens attention. Each day becomes valuable, not because it is pleasant, but because it will not return. This awareness is not morbid, it is clarifying. When you remember that life is finite, trivial concerns lose their grip. What remains is a focus on what truly matters: character, conduct, and purpose. Stoicism teaches that suffering increases when desire becomes attachment. To want something is natural. To believe you cannot live without it is dangerous. When happiness depends on a specific outcome, fear enters the mind. Fear of loss, fear of failure, fear of change. The Stoic loosens this grip by practicing non-attachment. This does not mean indifference. It means balance. You may pursue goals, relationships, and success, but you remain prepared to accept their absence. By rehearsing loss mentally, the Stoic reduces shock when it arrives. Nothing is taken as guaranteed. What is appreciated without dependence brings gratitude. What is depended on brings anxiety. Freedom grows as attachment weakens. Anger, to the Stoics, is a temporary madness. It narrows perception and replaces reason with impulse. The Stoic understands that anger often masks wounded pride. An expectation was violated. An ego was challenged. Instead of acting immediately, the Stoic delays response. Time cools emotion and restores clarity. This delay is not weakness, it is control. By refusing to react in the heat of emotion, the Stoic protects judgment. Words spoken in anger cannot be retrieved. Actions taken cannot be undone. Restraint preserves dignity, and dignity preserves peace. The Stoics placed great value on simplicity, not as an aesthetic, but as a defense. Excess creates dependency. Dependency creates vulnerability. The more you need, the more fragile your peace becomes. The Stoic reduces needs deliberately. Simple habits strengthen resilience. Simple desires reduce anxiety. By learning to be content with less, the Stoic gains independence, not from society, but from constant craving. Simplicity clears mental space. It removes distractions and reveals priorities. A quiet life, free of unnecessary excess, is easier to govern. Comparison is one of the fastest ways to lose contentment. The Stoics warned against measuring life through others. Another person's success does not diminish your worth. Another person's failure does not increase it. The Stoic turns attention inward. Progress is measured against yesterday's self, not someone else's highlight. Public opinion is unstable. Praise and criticism shift constantly. To build identity on them is to build on sand. The Stoic anchors self-worth in conduct, in effort, in integrity. What is internal remains steady when the external fluctuates. Discipline, in Stoicism, is not punishment, it is protection. Daily routines create structure. Structure creates stability. Small, consistent actions shape character more than dramatic effort. The Stoic prefers consistency over intensity. By showing up daily, even imperfectly, the mind strengthens. Willpower grows through repetition. Discipline removes the need for motivation. Action becomes automatic, not emotional. Over time, this steady practice builds quiet confidence, not arrogance, but trust in oneself. A disciplined mind is difficult to disturb. The Stoics believe that many problems are created by imagination rather than reality. The mind often exaggerates future pain, replaying scenarios that may never happen. Worry is the misuse of reason. It spends energy on outcomes that are not present and may never arrive. The Stoic brings attention back to the current moment. What is happening now is usually manageable. What is imagined often feels overwhelming. By focusing on the present task, the mind regains stability. The future will arrive in its own time, and when it does, it will be dealt with then. Peace grows when attention stays where life actually is. Stoicism places responsibility above comfort. A Stoic does not ask what feels easiest, but what is right. Responsibility gives structure to life. It provides direction when emotions fluctuate. When people avoid responsibility, they may feel temporary relief, but over time, avoidance weakens self-respect. The Stoic accepts responsibility willingly, not because it is pleasant, but because it builds strength. By carrying one's duties fully, the mind becomes grounded. There is less confusion, less regret, and less resentment. Responsibility anchors identity. The Stoics warned against being ruled by pleasure. Pleasure is fleeting and often demands repetition. When pleasure becomes the goal, satisfaction disappears quickly. The mind constantly seeks the next stimulation. The Stoic enjoys pleasure without depending on it. Enjoyment is allowed. Dependence is not. By limiting indulgence, the Stoic protects freedom. What you can easily live without cannot control you. Moderation preserves clarity. Excess clouds judgment. A restrained life is not empty, it is balanced. Loss is unavoidable. The Stoics believe that preparing for loss reduces its power. This practice, called negative visualization, involves briefly imagining the absence of what you value, not to cause sadness, but to deepen appreciation, and to reduce shock if loss occurs. When something is understood as temporary, its presence feels like a gift rather than a guarantee. The Stoic loves fully while remaining aware of impermanence. This balance allows attachment without fragility. Acceptance softens grief before it arrives. The Stoics viewed character as the highest possession. Everything else can be lost. Wealth, status, and health are external. Character is internal. A Stoic measures success by alignment with values, not by recognition or reward. When actions reflect principles, the mind remains steady regardless of outcome. Integrity creates inner peace because there is no division within. What you believe and what you do become the same. This unity is strength. The Stoics believe that clarity begins with honest self-examination. Without reflection, the mind drifts, driven by habit rather than intention. Daily reflection was not meant to judge harshly, but to observe actions calmly. What was done well? What was done poorly? What can be improved tomorrow? This quiet review strengthens awareness. Mistakes become lessons instead of sources of shame. By examining oneself regularly, the Stoic prevents small errors from becoming patterns. Growth becomes deliberate rather than accidental. A life examined daily becomes easier to correct. Speech reveals the state of the mind. The Stoics valued restraint in words as much as restraint in action. Excessive talking often hides insecurity. Silence, when chosen, reflects confidence. The Stoic speaks with purpose, not to impress, but to be useful. Words spoken carelessly can create unnecessary conflict. Words spoken thoughtfully can restore calm. By reducing unnecessary speech, the Stoic preserves energy and clarity. Not every thought requires expression. Silence becomes a form of discipline. Stoicism teaches respect for nature and its rhythms. Everything follows cycles of growth, decay, and renewal. Resisting these cycles creates frustration. Accepting them creates understanding. The Stoic does not demand permanence in a temporary world. Change is expected, not feared. By aligning expectations with nature, disappointment lessens. What changes was never meant to stay the same. This perspective brings humility. You are part of something larger, not its center. Acceptance restores balance. The Stoics believe that external praise and blame should be received equally. Both are unreliable. Praise can inflate the ego, criticism can wound it. The Stoic treats both as information, not identity. Neither defines worth. By remaining steady in the face of opinion, the mind remains free. Dependence on approval creates fragility. Independence creates strength. The Stoic listens carefully, but stands firmly. Effort matters more than outcome. The Stoics judged actions by intention and diligence, not results. Results are shaped by many factors beyond control. Effort belongs fully to the individual. When effort is sincere, failure does not diminish worth. When effort is absent, success feels empty. By focusing on effort, the Stoic removes fear of failure. Only neglect becomes unacceptable. This mindset encourages courage. Action becomes possible without guarantee. The Stoics believe that impatience is a form of resistance to reality. It arises when the mind demands faster results than circumstances allow. Time operates independently of desire. Forcing it creates tension. The Stoic practices patience not as waiting, but as remaining steady while time unfolds. By accepting natural pacing, frustration decreases. Effort becomes sustainable. Patience protects judgment. Hasty decisions often create long-term consequences. A calm pace preserves clarity. Stoicism emphasizes duty over impulse. Duty provides direction when emotions fluctuate. Impulses are temporary. Duty remains. By committing to principles rather than moods, the Stoic builds reliability. Others may change. Circumstances may shift. Duty anchors behavior. It prevents drift. A life guided by duty becomes coherent. Actions align with values. The Stoics advised limiting exposure to unnecessary distraction. Constant stimulation fragments attention. A distracted mind is easily disturbed. A focused mind is resilient. By simplifying inputs, the Stoic strengthens concentration. Less noise creates space for reason. Attention is treated as a valuable resource. Where it goes, life follows. Guarding attention protects peace. Gratitude, to the Stoics, is a discipline. It is trained, not automatic. By acknowledging what remains rather than what is missing, the mind shifts from lack to sufficiency. Gratitude does not deny hardship. It places hardship in context. This practice reduces resentment. It restores proportion. A grateful mind resists bitterness. The Stoics believe that strength is built quietly. True resilience does not announce itself. Grand displays often hide insecurity. Consistency reveals character. By enduring without complaint, the Stoic conserves energy. Silence becomes power. Strength grows through repetition. Day after day, quiet endurance lasts longer than dramatic effort. The Stoics warned against living in constant anticipation of the future. When the mind stays ahead of the present, life feels incomplete. Planning has value, but obsession steals presence. The Stoic plans briefly, then returns attention to the moment. What is happening now deserves full awareness. This is where action occurs. By anchoring the mind in the present, anxiety weakens. The future is approached calmly when it arrives. Presence restores balance. Stoicism teaches respect for effort, even when unseen. Not all work produces immediate recognition. The Stoic values unseen labor because it builds character. Results follow in time, or they do not. Either way, effort refines the self. By detaching from applause, the Stoic preserves dignity. Work becomes meaningful regardless of reward. The Stoics believe that envy is a misunderstanding of success. Another person's position reflects circumstances, not your failure. Envy distracts attention from personal responsibility. It weakens motivation. The Stoic replaces envy with study. What can be learned? What can be improved? By turning comparison into self-examination, growth resumes. Stoicism teaches moderation in ambition. Excessive ambition breeds restlessness. The Stoic aims high but remains grounded. Progress matters more than speed. By balancing ambition with acceptance, burnout is avoided. Steady advancement preserves clarity. The Stoics believe that truth should be spoken calmly. Conviction does not require aggression. A measured voice carries authority. Anger weakens credibility. By remaining composed, the Stoic allows reason to lead. Calm speech reflects inner order. The Stoics believe that resilience is built through voluntary discomfort. When life becomes too comfortable, the mind grows fragile. By occasionally choosing difficulty, cold, hunger, effort, the Stoic trains adaptability. What is practiced becomes familiar. What is familiar becomes manageable. This training reduces fear of hardship. The unknown loses its threat. Voluntary discomfort strengthens self-trust. You learn that you can endure more than you assumed. Stoicism teaches humility through perspective. No matter your status, you remain subject to the same laws of nature. This awareness dissolves arrogance. It restores proportion. The Stoic remembers that success is temporary and failure is survivable. By placing oneself within a larger whole, personal drama loses intensity. Perspective calms the mind. The Stoics valued consistency of character, acting well only when observed as performance, not virtue. True character appears in private moments, when no reward is visible. By aligning behavior across all situations, inner conflict disappears. Consistency creates trust in oneself, and self-trust creates peace. Stoicism teaches careful use of energy. Not every battle deserves engagement. The Stoic chooses responses deliberately. Some things are ignored by design. This selectivity preserves strength. Reaction is reserved for what truly matters. By refusing unnecessary conflict, clarity remains intact. The Stoics believe that wisdom grows through experience, not theory. Knowledge must be applied to be useful. Philosophy is tested in daily life, under pressure, in disappointment. By practicing principles consistently, understanding deepens. Wisdom becomes lived, not discussed. The Stoics believe that many conflicts begin with misunderstood intentions. People often act from their own fears, limitations, or confusion. The Stoic remembers this before reacting, not to excuse harm, but to prevent unnecessary anger. By interpreting others generously, the mind avoids escalation. Understanding reduces hostility. Calm replaces resentment. This practice protects inner peace without surrendering principles. Stoicism teaches that reputation is external. It belongs to others, not to you. Trying to control how you are perceived leads to exhaustion. The Stoic releases this burden. Actions are guided by values, not applause. Opinion is allowed to fluctuate freely. When reputation is no longer guarded, authentic behavior emerges. Freedom follows. The Stoics warned against rushing judgment. Initial impressions are often incomplete. By delaying conclusions, the Stoic allows facts to surface. This restraint prevents regret. It keeps emotion from dominating reason. Patience in judgment preserves accuracy. Stoicism emphasizes endurance without complaint. Complaining multiplies discomfort. The Stoic conserves energy by accepting difficulty silently, not denying pain, but refusing to amplify it. Endurance strengthens resolve. Silence protects dignity. The Stoics believe that life should be approached as training. Each challenge refines the mind. Nothing is wasted. Every experience becomes instruction. By adopting this view, frustration transforms into learning. Growth continues. The Stoics believe that fear is often a signal of attachment. We fear losing what we believe defines us. By examining fear closely, the Stoic identifies its source. Is it status, comfort, approval? Once the attachment is seen clearly, its power weakens. Fear loses intensity when its cause is understood. The Stoic does not eliminate fear entirely. He learns from it. Awareness transforms fear into information rather than command. Stoicism teaches respect for limits. Energy, attention, and time are finite. Overextension leads to exhaustion and resentment. The Stoic sets boundaries deliberately. Saying no protects long-term clarity. Not every request deserves agreement. By honoring limits, the Stoic preserves effectiveness. Self-respect grows through restraint. The Stoics viewed solitude as a teacher. Silence reveals patterns hidden by distraction. In solitude, the mind becomes honest. Thoughts surface without interference. The Stoic does not fear being alone. He uses it to refine judgment. Solitude restores perspective. It strengthens independence. Stoicism encourages acting without attachment to recognition. Good actions lose purity when driven by praise. The Stoic acts because it is right, not because it will be noticed. By releasing expectation of reward, action becomes lighter. Integrity replaces performance. The Stoics believe that regret often comes from neglecting values, not from failure. When actions align with principles, the outcome matters less. A clear conscience is a form of wealth. It cannot be taken. Living consistently reduces inner conflict. The Stoics believe that anger often comes from unmet expectations. Reality fails to behave as imagined, and the mind reacts with resistance. By adjusting expectations, anger loses fuel. The Stoic expects difficulty, misunderstanding, and delay. When these appear, they are not shocking. They are familiar. Prepared minds remain calm. Unprepared minds feel betrayed. Expectation shapes emotional response. Stoicism teaches that kindness is strength, not softness. Cruelty often signals inner disorder. The Stoic chooses fairness even when it is inconvenient, not to gain approval, but to preserve character. Kindness guided by reason maintains boundaries. It does not invite exploitation. A balanced heart remains firm and humane. The Stoics believe that identity should not be attached to roles. Titles, positions, and labels are temporary. When roles change, Confusion arises if identity depends on them. The Stoic anchors identity in values. Roles may be lost, character remains. This stability protects the mind during transitions. Stoicism teaches careful interpretation of events. Not everything is personal. Many perceived insults are misunderstandings. The Stoic pauses before assigning meaning. This restraint prevents unnecessary conflict. Clarity replaces assumption. Judgment improves when emotion is suspended. The Stoics believe that preparation reduces fear. Mental rehearsal strengthens response. By imagining challenges calmly, the Stoic builds readiness. When difficulty arrives, it feels familiar rather than overwhelming. Prepared minds respond steadily. The Stoics believe that consistency is more valuable than bursts of intensity. Short periods of effort followed by long neglect create instability. A steady rhythm builds trust in oneself. Small actions, repeated daily, shape character quietly. The Stoic prefers habits over motivation. Motivation fades. Habits remain. By committing to simple routines, the mind becomes reliable. Progress no longer depends on mood. Consistency creates calm because the mind knows what comes next. Order replaces chaos. Stoicism teaches acceptance of human imperfection. You will make mistakes. Others will disappoint you. Expecting perfection creates constant frustration. The Stoic expects error and prepares to correct it calmly. Mistakes are information, not identity. They point to adjustment, not condemnation. By responding to error with reason, growth continues. Shame is replaced by learning. Acceptance reduces self-conflict and restores balance. The Stoics emphasize service over self-importance. Life gains meaning when actions benefit more than the ego. Service grounds ambition. It reminds the mind that it is not the center of all events. By contributing quietly, the Stoic strengthens connection without dependence. Purpose replaces vanity. Meaning grows through usefulness. Stoicism teaches emotional moderation, not suppression. Joy is welcomed. Sorrow is acknowledged. The Stoic avoids extremes because extremes weaken judgment. Balance preserves clarity. By maintaining emotional range without attachment, the mind remains flexible. Moderation creates stability across changing circumstances. The Stoics believe that learning never ends. Wisdom requires humility. Certainty closes the mind. Curiosity keeps it open. By remaining a student of life, the Stoic adapts. Rigid beliefs soften. Learning sustains resilience. The Stoics believe that responsibility creates inner freedom. When a person takes full ownership of their actions, excuses disappear. Blaming circumstances may feel relieving, but it weakens character. The Stoic refuses this escape. By accepting responsibility, the mind becomes empowered. Change becomes possible. Responsibility is not burden. It is authority over one's own conduct. Stoicism teaches that discipline shapes identity over time. You become what you repeatedly practice. Thoughts turn into habits. Habits turn into character. The Stoic watches small choices carefully, knowing they accumulate quietly. Nothing is insignificant. By refining daily behavior, long-term transformation occurs naturally. Character is built in ordinary moments. The Stoics valued integrity above convenience. Doing the right thing often requires discomfort. Shortcuts may bring speed, but they erode self-respect. The Stoic chooses the slower, honest path. Integrity removes inner tension. There is no need to defend contradictions. A clear conscience simplifies life. Stoicism teaches emotional independence. Others may approve or disapprove, but neither defines you. When identity depends on reaction, peace becomes fragile. The Stoic reclaims authority over self-worth. By standing firmly in values, external noise fades. Stability replaces insecurity. The Stoics believe that calmness is a skill, not a personality trait. It is developed through practice. Each challenge is an opportunity to refine composure. Each delay trains patience. Calm becomes familiar through repetition. What is familiar becomes natural. Inner stillness is cultivated. The Stoics believe that clarity comes from aligning actions with reason. Reason, to them, was not cold logic, but balanced judgment guided by nature. When emotion overwhelms reason, decisions become unstable. When reason ignores emotion, judgment becomes rigid. The Stoic seeks balance. Emotion is acknowledged. Reason decides. By practicing rational reflection, the mind regains direction. Confusion fades when choices are examined calmly. Reason restores order, where impulse creates chaos. Stoicism teaches acceptance of uncertainty. Not everything will be understood or resolved. The need for complete certainty creates anxiety. The Stoic learns to act without full information. Waiting for perfect clarity often leads to inaction. Progress requires movement amid doubt. By accepting uncertainty, courage emerges. Action becomes possible without guarantees. Confidence grows from adaptability, not certainty. The The Stoics believe that philosophy exists to be lived. Ideas are only useful when applied. Reading without practice creates illusion of wisdom. Practice reveals understanding. The Stoic test principles daily. In conflict, in loss, in routine, life becomes the classroom. Experience becomes instruction. Wisdom deepens through application. Stoicism emphasizes harmony between thought and action. Inner contradiction creates unrest. When beliefs and behavior align, the mind settles. There is no need for self-justification. This harmony strengthens self-respect. Confidence becomes quiet and stable. Alignment simplifies life. Fewer inner battles remain. The Stoics believe that resilience is sustained by meaning. Endurance without purpose collapses. Meaning directs effort. It gives hardship context. By understanding why you endure, pain becomes manageable. Suffering gains direction. Purpose steadies the mind during difficulty. The Stoics believe that a well-governed mind requires regular stillness. Without moments of pause, thought becomes reactive rather than deliberate. Stillness allows impressions to settle. It separates what matters from what merely demands attention. The Stoic intentionally creates space for silence, not to escape life, but to understand it more clearly. From stillness, direction emerges. Clarity is restored. Stoicism teaches that desire should be guided by reason. Unguided desire pulls the mind in many directions. When desire is examined, unnecessary cravings dissolve. What remains is sufficient. By wanting less, the Stoic gains freedom. Dependence weakens. Reason disciplines desire without extinguishing it. Balance is preserved. The Stoics believe that contentment grows from self-mastery. External change brings temporary relief. Inner order brings lasting calm. By governing thoughts and actions, the Stoic reduces internal conflict. Peace is not found, it is built. Self-mastery stabilizes life. Stoicism teaches that life becomes lighter when demands are reduced. Not demands on effort, but demands on outcome. By releasing expectation, disappointment loses power. Effort remains sincere. The Stoic gives full effort without entitlement. Results are accepted. Freedom follows acceptance. The Stoics understood that peace is a byproduct, not a goal. It arises naturally when life is lived with discipline, clarity, and reason. By mastering the self, the world feels less hostile. By aligning with reality, resistance fades. Stoicism does not promise happiness. It offers stability. And from stability, a quiet form of peace emerges.